Hey, I'm Neil. I'm here to bring you fast, punchy reviews. No holds bars, no punches pulled, no scripts, no cuts. Let's go. Today, we're reviewing Final Fight. And I got the game here. It's on Super Famicom. And this is a beat 'em up, and I'm talking old school. I like to say that beat 'em ups are it's really the king of all genres of games. Because beat 'em ups, they tell wonderful stories. You walk to the side of the screen, you punch guys out. You can walk up, you can walk down, you can walk left, you can walk right. So it's got a full spectrum. It's really pseudo 3D, as these old school beat 'em ups are. It wasn't fully 3D as you can see, but it was pseudo 3D. You can jump, but you can walk up, down, sideways, left, right. It's really cool in that way. It creates a broad canvas to tell stories in games, more than the early games did, more than your Ataris or whatever. Developers started using the beat 'em up as a real platform for storytelling, and Final Fight is no exception. Final Fight has a great story, and in Final Fight, it's a Capcom game. You play as there's three characters. There's Mayor Hager, there's Cody, and there's Guy. Now, Cody, he's just your all-American, all-American guy. He's just he wears a white T-shirt. He's a working guy. He is, he's tough. He's probably smoking some cigarettes. He looks like Tom Cody from the movie Streets of Fire, and I think there's some connections there. And yeah, Cody's standard. Then you have Mayor Hager, and he looks like a freaking wrestler. I mean, this guy is huge. And that's just an example of how things were different in America back in the day. See, back in the day, you could have a vote for mayor, and you could elect someone, and we have our elected representatives, and the representative would become mayor. But if it was a bad representative, a person who was physically stronger and therefore more moral could punch them out and take over as mayor. And maybe that's what Hager had to do. Hager's a good guy. He's got a mustache. He's a big, tough guy. You just trust him. You trust him. And then there's Guy. And for me and my taste, I like to play as Guy. Guy is a karate champion. He wears red. Red's a really cool color. And he's just a cool guy. The story explains he's been training in Japan. I think it's important. All men have to go out and travel, a little bit. You have to have that hero's journey. So you got to leave your hometown, go out, see the world, come back and save your home. That's what it's all about. Final Fight's no different. In Final Fight, the city is in disarray from a horrible gang. But Mayor Hager, he's been putting in the work. He's been doing his job. He's been putting him down until this evil gang contacts him by television, and they show him a broadcast. They've captured his daughter, Jessica. This is bad news. They have her tied up, and he asks them straight up. He says, "What's going on? What have you done to her?" And they say, "Nothing, for now." So there's a really high threat. This gang is bad news. The gang's trying to blackmail him. They say, "Hey, listen, let us do what we want, like the last mayor did, or else Jessica's gonna suffer." So it's really scary stuff. Hager calls back in Cody and Guy, and so like I said, I like to play as Guy. He's in red. But Guy, you go out there, you're walking left to right, you're beating up guys. Beat 'em ups are all about crowd control. So I like to think of it like a fighting game, just a regular 2-on-2 fighting game, like a Street Fighter. That's more like your competitive multiplayer. A beat 'em up is more like a campaign story of fighting games. So you're experiencing all these environments and this vast array of enemies, and you're taking on multiple enemies at once. I like beat 'em ups a lot more than fighting games, because fighting games are all about that one-on-one. I think beat 'em ups are even better. It's all about crowd control. You got to get on the other side of the crowd. You let that crowd start getting in on you, they're going to punch you. You're punching a guy, you're getting hit in the back of the head. You're hitting another guy, another person's kicking in the leg. You can't let that happen. You got to get around them. You got to get them all on one side. Then you can start punching them all at once, kicking them all at once, throwing them into each other. If a guy gets on your other side, you can go and grab him and throw him over your shoulder, and he'll hit other guys and they bounce into each other. And that is really cool. That's what's cool about beat 'em ups, is all the interactivity and just the storytelling that beat 'em ups do, because you see so many environments as you go through these levels. And I have a love for the genre. Yeah, I think as far as the 2D genres go, beat 'em ups are really the best one that there was. And so I can't say enough about how good beat 'em ups are. But yeah, in Final Fight, you're going through. There's some great villains in Final Fight. I want to look at some of the artwork here. So this is just one of the covers for Final Fight, and you can see you got Cody here. You got Guy. He's kicking someone, and you got these bad guys, and they look like they're up to no good. I mean, they're making these funny faces, and they're just doing all kinds of stuff. They got weapons. See, Guy and Cody and Hagar, they don't have weapons offhand. They fight with honor. They just fight with their fist. Now, when they're in the battle, they do pick up weapons as necessary. You know, it's like Batman. Batman doesn't kill, but then, like, if it's like a Justice League event and you got freaking aliens and stuff, Batman's gonna kill. He's gonna do what he has to do. That's what these guys are like. They're like Batman. So, you know, they'll pick up weapons as they have to. I like this art because you got Cody here, and you got this villain on the ground, Hugo. And Hugo is dead. Look at the blood. You can't lose that much blood and survive. Hugo's done. So, you know, you see how serious that Cody is taking this, taking the fact that Jessica's been captured, and they're gonna kill. They're gonna kill as many of these guys as they need to. And this cast of characters is just so great. You know, let's just take a look. Well, I got a few of these artworks here, but you can see in this one you have Cody again. Now he does have a knife here. It happens. And then you have Hagar next to him, and you can see Hagar's rage. He's raising his hands up because his daughter's gone. What are you gonna do? You know, I'd be mad too. And then you got these kooky villains here, and you know they're just crazy. Let's look at some of these villains. Well, here's another great piece of art. You can see our three boys here. They're in the face of the villains. Now, Cody, he's sweating a little bit, but overall, these guys are three stone-faced guys. And look at these villains. They're taunting them. They think that they're tough, that these three guys ain't got nothing on them. But our boys are standing strong. And let's just find. Here we go. This is from one of the manuals. All right, so you see, here's the villains. Then we got Cody, and we got Hagar here. But then you have other great villains. You got villains like simply Jay. Now look at Jay. How much gel do you think Jay has to have in that hair to keep it up like that? I mean, he ain't messing around. He's got his hands in his pocket. What could be in that pocket? I don't know. Is it a gun? Is he gonna kill someone? Is he gonna pull out? Who knows what he's about to pull out here? You know, he could pull out, but then it could be like chewing gum or something. It was a surprise. Then you got, now look at this lanky guy here. His name is Hollywood. Am I right? Okay, look at this, Hollywood. You know, and I think you can see why he's called that. I mean, he's made for the screen. You know, so he throws knives. He tries to run up and stab you. He's a knife guy. He's stabbing. He's throwing. Dangerous. And if you hit him, you can knock the knife out of his hand and steal it and throw it back at him. Very satisfying. And then you got this chick here, red hair. She's pretty cute. Her name's Poison. So don't be deceived by her good looks. She's poison. Then we're gonna just keep it going. You got this guy, Bill Budd. He's short, but he can do some damage. He's a big guy. He's crazy. He's gonna grab you. And then you got this guy, and his name is Bread. Just Bread. And you know, I think if you look at him, you can see why. You know, there's Bread. All right. And then you got this guy here, Andor. and you can see him in the game. In the game, he looks even better. But his name is Andor, and he's giant. You know, so it's obviously played by Andre the Giant, who was amazing back then. But he's not the only wrestler in the game. The first boss of the game is played wonderfully by Randy Macho Man Savage, and I think he does awesome in this game. I'm sure that both him and Andre the Giant got big paychecks for this game. I'll bet you they did. But yeah, these villains are classic. They're awesome. They've got character. I mean, you wouldn't want these guys running your town, but that's what they're trying to do. They want to run this town. And America in the 80s was a really tough place to live. It was hard. Gangs would take over towns. Women would get kidnapped, and it was a rough and tough place. Luckily, guns weren't too prevalent. Usually there'd be street gangs, but they'll use their pipes, their knives, all kinds of stuff like that. Samurai swords, baseball bats. Very rarely would they use guns, and I think that's good. America used to be a better place. So yeah, that's the cast of Final Fight, and like I said, boy, is it a great cast. But the game in general, it's an awesome game. It's fun to play. Like I said, it's about that crowd control. The feeling of the punches feels great. It's just so satisfying to just beat up a whole room of these guys, and you almost feel bad for these villains. I'll tell you that. Because these guys, you look at them, they're kind of pathetic. I mean, how did these guys get into this situation even? You got to think that they were coerced, something else happened, they lost their mortgage fell through, who knows, but you know what? They made their choices. They're here now. I don't care what happened to these guys, honestly. I don't, how did they get on the streets? Who knows? But I don't care. Mayor Hager sure as hell doesn't care. Really, Mayor Hager is a really good illustration that paperwork doesn't always do the job. Sometimes you can sign papers all day, but in the end, you got to get out there with your fist. You want to clean up the town as the mayor. You got to really clean up the town. I think that's what Mayor Hager does. Mayor Hager, he's, like I said, he's a great illustration of that. And yeah, he's a good guy. But I also think it's funny in the ending screen that depending who you're playing as, you see them for the continue screen. You see your character tied up with dynamite, and the dynamite's ticking down, about to explode. And that's really humorous, and it really incentivizes you to play. You got to remember, this was an arcade game, so you see the timer ticking down, you see the dynamite about to explode, and your character's freaking out. And as a kid, you're reaching for the quarters. You're trying to find where you got them so you can put the quarters in real quick and save the character and keep playing. These games always had to find ways to pump those quarters out of the kids. But I think that's about all I had to say on Final Fight. It's the last one. It's the final fight. After this, there can be peace in America. So there's not going to be another one. There's not going to be a sequel. There might never be another video game again after this. But Final Fight's an awesome game. You should play it. You should play all the iconic beat-em-ups, and I'm going to cover more on the channel. But thank you for watching. Please check out the videos, my other videos that I got up. I did Mortal Kombat last week. And please subscribe to the channel. Like the videos. If you subscribe, you're going to see more. You're going to see more of this content pop up. It's going to be really enjoyable, and we're going to keep having a great time. I got more great games coming up and some other content too, We don't have to just do games. We can do all kinds of stuff. But thank you so much for watching. You have a great rest of your day.